Hello, folks. So I wanted to come back, and when I did my short this morning, I spoke about beta blockers and the heat and liver cirrhosis being quite dangerous. And I wasn't, I had a rough idea, but I wasn't 100% sure. So I've come back and done a bit of research on it. And I will say again before I start, this is not medical advice. I'm just some bloke on the internet. I have no medical training. I'm just trying to work out my own condition. And of course, not only do we all have our own variables to plug into this, but also you could have exactly the same variables as me, but your body just reacts completely differently with liver cirrhosis. So there's not really much use in you taking what I say, but the underlying principles might give you something to think about and go and speak to your doctor about. So I'm on a beta blocker called carvedilol, and what it effectively does is lowers portal pressure. I'm assuming that's like the portal vein in the liver, to reduce the potential for bleeding. But it also can stop the body's ability to cool itself down. So there's where the heat bit comes in. And if you've got decompensated cirrhosis like I do, some of the risks of that, and I am just looking because I've got it up on the screen in front of me, just to make sure that I get it right, are hypertension and kidney strain. So lowers blood pressure. Hot weather can trigger further blood pressure drops, so you can get kidney failure as a result of that. It says impaired thermoregulation. Why don't they talk normal? It doesn't sort your temperature out properly. Beta blockers can constrict blood vessels that may normally dilate to allow heat to escape, reducing the body's ability to sweat and cool off. So in other words, it doesn't allow your body to sweat and cool off as much. And there's something, it says the window theory. So it says in late stage decompensated cirrhosis, the body's nervous system is highly active, and beta blockers in that hyper advanced stage may cause dangerous tissue and blood flow, low blood flow to vital organs. It says dangerous tissue hypoperfusion, and then in brackets it's got low blood flow to vital organs. So it says, fluid management is one of the ways to sort of survive the hot weather, and avoiding dehydration is essential. But of course, patients, it says here, patients with ascites, and I guess if you've got edema as well, any form of fluid retention, and that is a guess. It says that they may at the same time be on strict fluid restriction. So look, my specialist said that I shouldn't have more than 1.5 litres a day, but when it's exceptionally hot, I can have up to 2 litres. And one thing she also suggested that I do is buy some proper old school boiled sweets, like grannies used to have when we were kids, because it gives you a punch of flavour without having to drink to get it, and it also sort of activates saliva glands, so you don't get that sort of dry cotton mouth. It does say that dose adjustments may be necessary, but look, I think that's something that you probably need to have spoken to your specialist team, or certainly at least your GP, before the hot weather hits. Otherwise, I mean, we live in Britain, right? How long is the hot weather going to last? If you survive the week with the hot weather, you probably still won't be able to see the consultant at the hospital, unless you get rushed in by ambulance, and nobody really wants that. So stay cool, people, stay cool. Yeah, like the Fonzie. And it says environmental control as well, so staying in air-conditioned environments. Who thinks that was written by an American? Because all their places over there have aircon, don't they? Whereas we have $11.99 fans out of Argos. So, oh, the joys of being British, people. Yes, stiff upper lip, and let's carry on. So anyway, that was where I was getting to this morning, and really I just wanted to raise a bit of awareness that the hot weather isn't great for liver cirrhosis anyway, but if you're on a beta blocker, you've got a double whammy. And I'll be honest, although my stats for the walk were pretty good, it was probably the hairiest one that I've done in terms of dizziness, and, feeling a little bit wobbly on my feet, and, sort of like losing me balance a couple of times. I stumbled. Thankfully I had my cane with me, which I do use fairly pretty much all the time, to be perfectly honest with you. There are the odd occasion I can get away without it, but probably 95 plus % of the time I use the cane. The one thing I was lucky about today, because I did mention the other day, and I don't know if it was in a long form or a short, that because I live sort of out in the countryside, in a little 2 up, 2 down, which I'm incredibly grateful for. It's a lot easier than living in town. Slurp of coffee. But because I live out in the countryside, to go around the block is 2.5 miles. So it's basically just around farm fields. So I can come out and I can turn right or left and keep moving in the same direction, and I'll get back to where I started, obviously, because I'll do a square. If I'd have gone left this morning, and I didn't think about this at the time, but I certainly will in future now. If I'd have gone left this morning, my last half mile would have been all in the sunshine. And after that walk, and I did drink about 650 ml of water on that walk as well. And I ate just before it to make sure that I had some calories in my body. My liver obviously isn't storing glycogen. So I had a Huel Black and about 230 grams of mixed black and red grapes before I went out. So, if I'd have turned left, that last half a mile would have been all in the sun, and I think that might have done me in. But I happened to turn right, and that meant that my last half a mile was mostly, probably about 85-90% in the shade, and with a lovely cool breeze as well. And I think that really helped me in getting back and getting through that last half a mile. So, it is what it is. Anyway, folks, I did just want to, in this hot weather in the UK at the moment, and of course if you're watching from, elsewhere in the world where it is warmer, just to raise the fact that liver cirrhosis, beta blockers and the heat don't play nicely together. So I've told you how it affects me. You might want to then go and have a chat with your specialist team, your medical professional, and ask them how it affects you. All right, that one's done. So be nice and be kind, because you never know what people are going through. And until the next one, laters potatoes, off you pop.